Have you ever wondered how a hacker goes from being a total stranger to, well, knowing your network even better than you do? It's not magic, not at all. It's actually a super methodical process called enumeration. Today, we're going to crack open the hacker's playbook and see exactly how they take tiny little clues and turn them into a full-blown blueprint for an attack. Let's dive in.
Right, so this is the question, isn't it? It's the whole game. See, it's not about just brute forcing the front door. Not at all. It's about finding that one unlocked window in the back that nobody thought to check. And that's where enumeration comes in. It is the art of methodologically mapping out a target's entire digital world, turning these little whispers of information into what is basically a master key.
So, what is enumeration really? The best way to think about it is like a burglar casing a building before a heist. They're not breaking in yet, right? They're just walking the perimeter, checking for unlocked windows, taking notes on where the cameras are. It's all about gathering intel by actually interacting with the target. And that is exactly what enumeration is in the digital world.
The real key phrase here is active connection. In the early stages, an attacker might just be passively scooping up info from public websites or whatever. But with enumeration, they're actually knocking on your digital doors. They are sending queries directly to your servers to see who answers, and, more importantly, what secrets they might accidentally give away. The whole process is super methodical. You start with whatever clues you already have, then you start actively poking around. But the real trick, the real art, is in step 3, appearing like a normal user. You're not trying to smash the door down, you're pretending to be a legit user, making standard requests, and basically tricking the system into telling you everything you want to know. And the final goal? To find those perfect entry points for a real attack.
And what does all this probing get you? Well, it gets you a hacker's treasure map, literally. Every single username, every network share, every little version number of a service, it's just another landmark on the map that guides them closer and closer to that big X, that one critical vulnerability that could bring the whole thing down.
And listen, we're not just talking about finding a single password. An attacker is building a complete file on their target. We're talking valid usernames, network shares packed with files, what operating systems are running, what the security configurations look like. Every single piece of this puzzle helps them build a much more precise and, frankly, a much more effective attack.
So let's flip to a classic page from this playbook, NetBIOS enumeration. This is one of the very first things an attacker is going to look for. Because if it's not locked down tight, it can be, incredibly chatty. So what is NetBIOS? It's basically this legacy system that helps Windows computers talk to each other on a local network. And yeah, it's old, but you would be shocked at how often it's still active, especially in big corporate environments. For an attacker, finding an open NetBIOS service is like finding a dusty old diary just filled with secrets about how the whole network works.
Okay, so when an attacker finds NetBIOS, what's on their shopping list? Usually 3 main things: a complete list of all the computers on the network, a map of every single shared folder, and, if they get really lucky, super valuable info about security policies, maybe even passwords. It is an absolute goldmine of information.
And here, this is what it looks like in the real world. This is the output from a super common tool called Enum for Linux. Just look at what it found with one single command. We're seeing sensitive network shares like netlogon, which can hold login scripts, and profiles for all the users. Getting access to these is like getting a backstage pass to compromise accounts across the entire network.
All right, the next play in the book targets a protocol that's actually designed to share information. SNMP, the Simple Network Management Protocol. I mean, its whole purpose is to talk, which makes it an incredibly juicy target for an attacker. The official job of SNMP is to help network admins keep an eye on all their devices. Routers, switches, servers, they all use SNMP to report back on their health. It's super useful for the good guys, but it can be just as useful for the bad guys. Think of it like a simple conversation. You've got the manager, which is like the boss, sitting at a desk asking all the questions. And then you have agents on every single device. The routers, the servers, you name it. The manager just pings an agent and says, hey, give me your status, and that agent happily sends back all of its data. So here's the critical part. How does the system know who to talk to? It uses something called a community string, which is, you guessed it, basically just a password. And what's the most common default read-only password? Public. If an administrator never bothered to change that default setting, it's literally like leaving the key to your server room under the doormat with a big sign pointing to it. And here's the real kicker. The most common versions of SNMP, they send that community string, that password, in plain text. Anybody who's listening on the network can just see it. An attacker just has to sniff the traffic for a minute, grab the string, and now they can start asking your devices for all their secrets.
Okay, so we've spent all this time thinking like an attacker. Let's flip the script. How do you actually defend against this? How do you stop your own network from basically handing over the map to the treasure?
You know, defending against this stuff really just comes down to good digital hygiene. If you don't need an old protocol like NetBIOS, turn it off. Block the common ports for these services at your firewall. And for SNMP, please change those default community strings right away. Stop using public. Better yet, switch to SNMP version 3, which actually encrypts everything. These aren't crazy complex fixes, but they make an attacker's job so much harder. So we'll leave you with this one question. Every single device on your network is talking. All the time. The real question is, do you know what it's saying? Because if you're not listening, you can be absolutely sure that someone else is.